Right, we're live. Kimberly, hello, how are you?
Hello.
Well, welcome to our 12 Ronnies live stream,
Yes.
our podcast for the week. I'm delighted to have you talking as a founder of a business and about some of the challenges that you may have faced when starting a business, because it's challenging for all of us, and just really for the audience to hear a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your business, and maybe we can talk through some of the interesting parts. So first of all, Kimberly, please introduce yourself. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Um, so, so about Anchor or about me
About
personally?
yourself, first of
Uh,
all, about your journey, about how you got to becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a founder. Just a little bit of an intro to yourself, first of all, before your
okay,
company.
so I'm Kimberly Cushing. I'm in the Pacific Northwest or the Seattle area. For those of you over in the UK, um, I am a wife, mom to 4 kids who are all adults now. Um, I homeschooled all my kids. And one of our children has developmental disabilities and epilepsy. In fact, when she was 4, she had epilepsy surgery, which means she had a lobe of her brain removed. Um, that
Oh my
plays
gosh.
into a lot of what we'll
Mm.
probably talk about today. Um, and so I am full-time caregiver to a 32-year-old daughter of
Wow.
mine. And yeah, so that is kind of
How
the
you got
premise.
into what you're doing at the
Yeah.
moment. Well, just before we start and you tell us a little bit about your business, I'm going to just for our audience, our audience, we're speaking to people that are looking to start a business or in the startup phase of a business. And that's where 12 Ronnies get involved. We help people. And I just wanted to let people know that if they go to our website, 12ronnies.com, there's a big red button in the middle of the page there. If they press that red button, they can take a quiz, and it'll help them understand where they are in their startup journey and give them some tips and some guidance on what they can do next. So I just wanted to let people know, first of all, that they can go to our website and get that. But if we come back to your journey, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Anchor Puzzles. Um, and you've already talked about your personal experience to shape it, but if you could just go into a little bit more detail about what Anchor Puzzles is, what your startup is.
Okay, so the simple answer is that in 2018, my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I asked the doctor, so what can we do? Because you want to do something. And she said, exercise, socialize, puzzles, and games. And so I went off looking for puzzles, and the options were a 500 count, a piece count puzzle or more, or a 12 count piece puzzle made for 4 to 6 year olds.
Right.
And I did buy a couple things for my dad, and he crossed his arms and said, I'm not in kindergarten, and refused to try. So I have been complaining a bit about this situation
Yeah.
for a long time. And having COVID in the winter of 2021, my husband and I were just sitting doing a puzzle,
Yeah.
and the light bulb moment was like, we could do this. Why aren't we doing this? And that's how it was born. But because of my experience of developing and tailoring curriculum, activities, and games, especially for my daughter with cognitive challenges herself, I'm like, I know what to do. I've been doing this for over 20 years.
Yeah.
That's
Wow. That's really exciting. That's really exciting. I, it's fairly unique actually, starting a business focused on cognitive challenges. We always say when we're mentoring people about businesses that you should focus on a niche, not just the whole broad market where you really want to get to, where you think it's for everybody, but what is your niche to launch in? And you've obviously chosen a niche,
yeah.
and it's come from your journey. Was there any any process in your mind about identifying this as a niche?
Well, what did start off was like, oh, duh, this is for Alzheimer's and dementia. It does include a broader audience of developmental disabilities, stroke recovery, TBI, I mean, all sorts of things. Understanding that our user may not be our customer.
Yeah.
So now we've redirected to caregivers, because somebody who has some cognitive challenges isn't necessarily searching for solutions, but somebody who's caring for them is.
That's quite interesting, actually. I wanted to actually post a question on that. I had a question ready on that side. On it, you know. So this is one that I prepared. Yeah, I prepared a whole list of questions, but I think this question I should bring straight to the front first of all. In the how do you aim to support
Right.
caregivers as well as the individuals?
Yeah. So when you focus on the user, first of all, that we needed things that will improve their cognitive abilities, cognitive health, but not overstimulate them. And our whole premise at the beginning was age honoring and success based. So those three things are really important in everything we do. So we want to honor the age of the user. So a 75-year-old doesn't want to do anything that talks about or shows like Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing against Taylor Swift.
Exactly. No, exactly.
But,
it's the age of the user, and it's the
yeah. But you start talking about an Elvis song, ding.
Yeah.
So it needs to honor them. It also needs to be doable. So success, that we just call it success based. Somebody
Yes.
that can sit down and do it in one setting. Now, these can be done with a caregiver, so you have the connection, or individually. If you're doing it independently, caregiver gets a little break. So, we want things that spark joy and but also improve cognitive health.
So that's in many ways it's not just helping people that need cognitive help. It really helps the caregivers as well. It's a much broader offering as such.
Yes.
And have you had a lot of feedback from caregivers? I mean, when you about the whole process and how it's helped them?
Well, of course, everybody's always excited when we talk about it. The caregivers, they're happy about it.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of hit and miss about feedback.
I'm just wondering, because one of the things that we always try and do at the early stages of business is get testimonials, and so not just from the individuals, but their caregivers as well. I think would be really good testimonials. I don't know whether you've gone down that route.
Just a little bit, but I do have to say that a friend from high school, her husband earlier this year had a stroke. And, when you're in your 50s, that's pretty early. But he was just, so she after about 3 months, she posted it on social media that her family's going through this. She still has kids in school. And my husband and I, who went to school with her, were like, we're just going to bless her with stuff.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, this will make me a little teary. Her husband's like, I wish I had this 3 months ago, because he can actually do something. So stuff like that. That's what we want to hear.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. I mean, that's the beauty about what you're doing. The stories, the help, it's a very emotional arena that you're operating in.
Right.
I'll try not to play on the emotional side. So, so the other part that I noticed when I was doing a little bit of research on this is woman-owned, minority-owned. What significance does that hold for you, Kimberly?
Well, so the practical side is that just early on, it was obvious that I do all the administrative and management of it. So my husband, he works a full-time job outside of our home, and little bits of time And then he is more creative. When he talks about Illustrator or Photoshop, my eyeballs kind of spin, and I just don't have the bandwidth to learn that as well. But the other side is that the whole point of our business is to give a voice and empower people that don't always have that voice, and that includes anybody with a cognitive challenge and their caregiver. Well, being a woman, don't always have that voice. Being a member of a Native American tribe, you don't always have that voice.
Of course.
So, by establishing ourselves as a women-owned, minority-owned business, I'm hoping that elevates my voice, especially in all the areas: caregiving, challenge, cognitive challenge,
Yes.
woman-owned, minority-owned. So,
No, very good, because it's unusual that the businesses focus on also the setup of their company and what it stands for. So I think that's really inspirational. And just before I come to the next question, for people listening, if you've got any questions for Kimberly, please put them in the chat, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll have a go at answering those questions. But I'll jump on to the next one, Kimberly, as we've only got a half an hour session today.
yeah.
So the puzzles, how do you design them? How do the activities specifically tailored?
We
This
focus.
is quite interesting. How do you get to the design part of it?
Sure. Well, we focus on simplicity, and that simple design, simple ideas does not mean dumbing down anything. In fact, my husband and I both actually will take a 12-piece puzzle, and if you practice it with your left hand, if you're right-handed, or
Yep.
upside down, you're still building neural pathways.
Yeah.
So, I heard a ding.
No, that was my phone. It was my phone just.
Oh, okay. So focusing on simple design, like I already mentioned, age honoring, success-based, and very vibrant colors. Nothing mushy, no mushy colors, not pastel-y. So that's the basis on how we start.
No, very good, because it was I was just interested because it's very specific, your audience and who you're going for. So the design part, that's very interesting. So my next question is mainly around the we're back to the caregiver side of things, or the loved one, but your two audiences,
Right.
But and any stories you've got to share at this, because it's all about stories, and I'm sure that you've
Right.
got some stories in this part of things.
I would say like my friend from high school, but also my father-in-law. He passed away last year, but he had vascular dementia.
Right.
And so we had him doing a 60-piece puzzle because he was a big puzzler before. And he struggled with it at first. So my husband gave him a 12-piece puzzle. He worked on that, and then suddenly he could do the 20-piece.
Wow.
And then he could do the 60-piece. So I know there's research about there, like the NIH and all that have done research, but it's like when you see it, wow, it really works. It can work for all of us.
That's brilliant. So, I mean, I love hearing about these stories. And is in terms of your website, does your website, I haven't looked fully through it, has your website got some of these stories on there for people to look at?
So here's a business challenge. I've been I don't know if you want to delve into this, but I've been kind of in a battle with a web host. And so unbeknownst to us, they took ownership of our domain, which also includes our emails. So I just switched to Shopify. So I'm locked out of all emails. And so for 2 weeks, I have spent hours and hours on chat support. So I don't have testimonials on there yet because I also had to learn how to build a website.
You see, this is great because this is the real world of startups and of being an entrepreneur. And unlike being in let's call it a grown-up business where you have a speciality, Here we have to do all the different parts, and when we're locked out of something, we don't just call up a head of a department somewhere else and say, "Can you fix it?" We have to find a way around it. So these are really good lessons for people that want to start businesses, that you just have to, there's so many unexpected things that come up, and you just have to jump in there and give it a go. And that was why I was sort of really wanted to know about both your stories and the challenges sides of things. And when you were talking about your website, so promotional material, you know, in what ways do you promote this side of things? How do you promote what you're solving a problem here? Like any business, you have to solve a problem. How do you promote your puzzles to do that?
So do you mean how do puzzles help your mental wellness, or like getting out
Well,
on social media?
sort of two parts actually, Kimberly. One is because what the puzzles do is they're solving a problem. That's why you have an audience for your business. So there's two parts. One is promoting yourself as being in the arena of solving the problem, and the other is about your puzzles specifically.
Okay. So first of all these activities, we all need. Oh, I missed it. The mental.
No, sorry. I've just put one that's come up here. I'll go back to where I was.
The mental wellness and cognitive
Yeah.
stimulation.
Yeah.
Every single one of us need to be doing that.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mentioned, there's I'm not a neuroscientist. However, you can regrow or grow new neural connections, and doing things like puzzles and coloring, word search, mazes,
Yeah.
reading, all these types of things, they can help you grow your brain, literally. So that's important for everybody. How I promote these things is learning the arduous task of social media.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I just have that much knowledge. It is like a job in itself. It's
Yeah.
very exhausting. I know that on LinkedIn, I'm not very good about the LinkedIn, but if you start posting blogs or something, then you can establish yourself as an industry expert.
Yes.
But that's just one more job right now. You only have so much time for every job.
Well, the other thing I think about social media is there's both your platform that you're most familiar with and that you want to establish yourself on, but there's also your audience. So those that you're promoting mental wellness and cognitive stimulation to, it's understanding what platforms they go to. And
right.
And often things like videos, so doing these sorts of things and cutting them up into segments and then posting them on platforms that you're not that familiar with, has a really good way of establishing your identity. So, for instance, TikTok. I really don't understand TikTok. My daughter's on it all the time, and I'm a usual parent. Get off your phone, but she loves it. But we also post all of these videos go onto our TikTok platform, and we're getting lots and lots of followers. And I really don't know how that actually works, but it is being visible on these on these platforms. I did want to actually post a question. We've got some questions coming in from the audience now, some people. Okay. So Christopher Norris has asked, are there differences in the game designs you create for people with different conditions?
No, this would be just general. So, and there'll be different levels of challenge, but these should be doable to people of all abilities. I say should be because it's not going to cover the extremes, and
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. And actually, I'm just going to post one from Tim, who you know well, and I can see wanted to say through anchor puzzles. So you can grow or regrow your connections through anchor puzzles, and I think that it in a way, actually, when you were talking about growing brain connections, it's something that I've noticed as I get older. I some things I've slowed down with, and I do find doing things like Sudoku and other things like that are really useful for
Yes.
just keeping my mind going. I know my
Right.
wife does lots of crosswords, so we all do different types of things to keep our brain active.
Yes. So important.
But yeah, so you can regrow all these connections then, or regrow
Yes.
some of them.
Now, of course, I'm not a medical professional.
No, no,
However, Alzheimer's disease,
yeah,
it is a progressive disease. It's not going to cure a disease.
yeah. But
So,
you're growing new connections. Okay, we're just moving then on to some of the challenges you faced as a founder. So you're in a specialized field, so you maybe talk about the specialized one, but also your general things as a founder. We've got an audience of people that start businesses, want to start businesses, are involved in the ecosystem. What are some of your biggest challenges been, Kimberly?
well, starting when we first started out, luckily because we have an element of resilience already, just having
Yeah.
somebody with a challenge, a medical challenge, we've developed resilience. So,
Yes.
understanding when we went in, we were entering a marathon. We were not in a 100-meter race or
Yes.
sprint or whatever. And so, um, I think I was surprised, excuse me, at how many roadblocks and challenges that we keep hitting. However, just many have caused me to learn and grow.
Yes.
And so I don't look at them like, oh, it's not fair, why me, why us? I look at it, okay, what can I learn from this? And the other thing is it's helped me to be more agile, more adaptable. Like, I might have to pivot. And one pivot was that because of trademark issues, we added a trade name, or DBA as they're called here,
Yes. Yes.
Anchor. But also our website was Anchor Puzzles. So was all our emails. And so 2 weeks
Right.
ago, I was talking with a mentor, and she said, you are limiting yourself by just keeping Anchor Puzzles contact, because we aren't just a puzzle company.
Yeah.
We need to open up. And so now we have a different domain. We still have our business name is Anchor, also Anchor Puzzles, but now our website is Anchor Wellness. So being able to pivot, and I'm still dealing with the aftermath of losing our email,
Yeah.
but it actually is going to be a blessing because our goal is B2B. We're starting with B2C, but we have bigger
Oh,
vision.
that's interesting. Tell us about your thought process then, in going from B2C to B2B, and it's another segment, it's another customer segment. If
Right. Well, so first of all, when we started a business, if you said B2C or B2B, I would have no idea what the heck you're talking about. So,
yeah,
so learning all those things, um, and we can never scale if we're B2C. It's so labor intensive.
yeah,
So we're switching. Okay, we will always have a B2C presence, I think. Switching to B2B to reach out to healthcare facilities, VA, which is Veterans Administration here. I don't know if you know what that is.
no, I am aware.
Yeah. So just a larger audience.
So rather than going at the B2C, going to the consumer
Right.
one at a time, you're looking at going to almost like distribution routes to them.
Yes.
Through the B2B avenue. I also wanted to ask a little bit, because a lot of entrepreneurs, it's around resilience, and whether you've, given how difficult all of this is when starting a business, any lessons, any advice, any wisdom that you can share about empathy and resilience in founding the company?
I would say just keep going. Just keep
Yeah,
just keep trudging along. I wouldn't sell the farm to, start a business, and if
yeah,
you know, it costs a lot of money.
it
So make
does.
sure that you can do things as inexpensively as possible to start. Um, and just keep trying to get to where it feeds itself and then hopefully
Yeah,
grows. Yeah.
yeah. No, I mean, that's all we really want, most of us, at the end of the day, when we're starting a business, is to get to somewhere where it can start to grow. It can feed us, our family,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it can be something we enjoy doing. I also wanted to ask about the longer term goals. So you've talked about the move to B2B, as a, well, it's not really so much of a pivot. It's more of a growth, a
Yes.
scaling
Yes.
strategy. What are the long term goals for Anchor Puzzles, or for what you're doing?
Right. Well, long-term goals would be to grow and to get it to where we can hire people, we can just expand our footprint. And as far as products, yes, we have a new product in production right now.
Oh,
Um,
exciting!
and then hopefully we're going to move to some tech. Um, that's another thing to learn.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll be tech that you'll be building yourself, or be building with other people, or having service providers come in and build it for you?
Um, don't know exactly. One of our tech ideas, we need to do some more investigation because
Mm.
this, again, the user is not going to be the customer. It's not exactly the same. The user would be like healthcare facilities or
Yeah.
assisted living facilities,
Yeah.
and we have to find out if they're willing to spend the money. Otherwise, why spend our efforts?
Absolutely. I mean, you almost said the perfect segue into the next question. So for these people, for the caregivers, the healthcare facilities, um, what tips would you offer for incorporating it into their daily routines?
Right. Make it daily and incorporate fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
uh, my when there was a time that my dad lived with us after my mom passed away a couple years ago, and having a balloon blown up and just playing what we call volley balloon,
yeah,
that was so fun to him
yeah,
and to my daughter. And so when you bring fun, it helps everybody relax. It's you want to do it again. And so also if an activity is too difficult, nobody wants to do that. If I get a Sudoku that is too challenging for me, I just give up.
yeah, yeah,
You know, it's no fun. I
yeah,
want to do things that are fun, but
yeah.
you got to just keep doing them every day.
No, I like, yeah. I mean, actually, as we're coming to the end of our time, I was going to ask one more question. I will put it up because it moves nicely into this part, but about empathy, about fun. You are in the fear. What you're doing is social impact. You're a social entrepreneur in what you're doing here. For those that are starting social enterprises, socially minded businesses, with what advice would you give these entrepreneurs? I mean, this is because it is a particular type of business. It's a business about passion, not about money as much.
To be clear, we're about the money too.
I'm glad you
I
said
don't,
that as
I don't
well.
want to snow anybody here.
Yeah,
I would say to not lose compassion.
yeah, yeah. To not lose compassion. I think that's actually a really good piece of advice, because that's where you started out, isn't it? It's compassion, and
Yeah.
to not lose sight on that. Although you're trying to turn it into a business that makes money,
Yes. Yes.
to not
Absolutely.
lose sight of compassion. Kimberly, it's been absolutely wonderful
Yes.
speaking to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
You're doing something absolutely incredible and making a living out of it. I mean, that's just so incredible. I just wanted to finish off, just so I'll post it again, reminding people that if they want to start a journey the way Kimberly is in starting a business, we can at least give them an idea of what to do next and which direction to go. We have lots of mentorship and lots of facilities to help people start businesses. So if you go to our website, 12ronnies.com, click on the red button and we got a quiz that can start taking you through things. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure, and best of luck with your business.
Thank you. Thank you.